I am Monia Baldini, and I am a physical performer and a theater maker. I come from Italy, and I am now touring with my show, which is called Be My Guest, which is a solo interactive comedy show in which I play 6 different characters, which are parts of my crazy persona and also parts of human archetypes. And I play with them like they come out and they make my life very difficult, as all we have different personality we struggle with. And so we go together with the audience in a journey of accepting ourselves and our fragilities and our limits. So it's a show where the audience is involved and they play along with me with all. It's autobiographical, so we go sometimes through parts of my life, as the struggle is always seen in a comic way, so it is never, I hope it's never heavy. So the audience may recognize themselves in some situations, they might get closer to some characters, they might reflect themselves into some situations, so we play and I give them roles to play during the show. So it's really like, I love my show. I love it. Yes. Yeah, I love being my guest. It makes me so happy to play that show. And more and more I'm doing it, and more I'm happy about doing it. And it feels very important right now to make this kind of show, which is very simple. There's nothing really just me and wearing one costume, no object, no props. It's just me and putting my story there and the audience sharing it with them through comedy, which is just very simple, really.
And obviously you've been doing the show for a little while now, kind of year or two now. And how do you think how do you reflect on that journey to the point where you're at now with it?
It made me think it's been quite long now, probably about a year and a half since the first time we did it.
Yeah.
It's very different from the beginning. Maybe it's not so different from the outside, but from the inside, I think at some point I started to breathe through the show, because often it's very chaotic. There are many things happening.
Yeah.
And I felt at the beginning, like, I had to rush through everything, and everything was like, maybe it was a memory thing, I don't know, or like insecurity thing. I'm still insecure, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm taking my time and the show just flows. I feel like sometimes it just, in the sea, I'm in the sea with the people and we just flow together through this journey. And I think there's change in the sense that it's more smooth and there's more audience participation perhaps than there used to be, and it's just more relaxed and light. I think it got lighter in the sense of, the atmosphere that's in the room. And it doesn't belong to me anymore, which is a very good thing.
Yes. And then obviously, I guess the interactivity keeps it fresh for you as well. Kind of, obviously, every show is going to be slightly different because you've got different audience members. And does that keep you kind of on your toes and kind of in the moment?
It does, when I feel like I allow that to happen, in the sense that if I don't accept the fact that I'm worried and embrace to be in the difficult moment of not knowing what to do. If I accept it, I'm like in an empty space, imagine in front of someone I don't know. I don't know what's going on, and then some stupid, silly ideas just come to my head, and I follow them. If I feel, stupid enough, idiot enough to go through those moments of total uncertainties, then I get out some very good improvised material. But if the day after I pretend and I want to repeat something the day before, just because I don't feel I'm going to this empty space, doesn't work. So it's just about being really in the shit.
Yeah.
Accepting the stage of total don't know what's going on. With improvisation, perhaps it's always a little bit like that.
Yeah, and I guess, like you say, it keeps it exciting for an audience as well, because they don't know what's going to happen, and you don't really know what's going to happen kind of till that moment.
Yeah, I've like for example, last time I performed, just because I don't think I have to say this to anyone yet, is there was like, I think, a strike in London. There was something, there was some problem. There were some problems. Like you could feel it was hot in the room.
Yes.
So the day before I had a very good show, and I had this energy of like, oh, okay, everybody's gonna be ready like yesterday.
Yeah.
And I walked in the room and everyone was not so ready.
Yeah.
And obviously it wasn't my fault, but in the past, I might have said, okay, it's my fault, I'm not doing, and I would fight with my playing. But that time I was like, okay, let's look at them. Let's just see what's going on. And then, the show started a bit, slowlier, and I took more time at the beginning, and then eventually they all warm up and we all like got together in a good place. But just to say, we all are humans, I am, and most of all they are, and just they don't know what's going on. So it's just about take that time of understanding why a certain number of humans have become together gather in a room.
Yes.
What's the energy, and then play with the energy.
And then obviously the Fringe is quite an intense run for you, as you say. Kind of how are you preparing for that?
I think I have. I don't know if I have prepared enough, because I didn't want to think so much about it, because the idea of it was scaring me, because I've obviously been here before. So I know how hard it is.
Yes.
Physically, I think it will be hard for me, but I think mostly would be like emotionally hard, because obviously like I came here last time in 2017, so I haven't been for a while, and there are lots of shows, so there's a lot of going on, and perhaps it will take time to build up an audience.
Yeah.
So we know that this is all now, we have done all the work we could. I think the most difficult thing will be accepting that again, like don't expect too much, and just like every day working towards that, building up and accepting this rather than expecting big. And also, like, I had a very good friend of mine who was a producer here. He told me, you don't have to compare your show with anybody else's show, because each one of us has different is different. No, I know it's stupid, so maybe it's not so profound, but sometimes the very simple things are probably most useful to remind ourselves.
Yeah, of course. Like you say, there's so much going on, but still you're going to be in that moment, I suppose. Especially when it's like, I suppose when it gets to the second and third week, where you're kind of riding out, when you're probably tired, and kind of that's when it kind of going to get it. It's a bit like a marathon, I suppose, isn't it? Kind of doing that.
It is a marathon, mentally and physically, absolutely. I think the answer to your question from before, it is how I prefer myself, perhaps, to stay in the moment.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the most useful things I would say about doing this job. It's just about being in the moment, just living.
Yeah.
What is going on always in life, but in this job, it's very important you keep safe by being exactly where you are at the time and not projecting yourself.
Yes, you'd be great, though. You'd be great. But then, obviously, all the personas in the show, if they all met in one room, how do you think that would go?
You probably do with my guests. There is a moment where they meet, and because see bits of it. There is one moment when I do a slapstick routine in which literally they meet.
Yeah.
1 second after the other, just a physical answer to everything, like in 2 minutes, which is crazy. I think by the end of the show, they're friends. They may go and have a beer somewhere in Edinburgh together. Yeah. Or they might want to kill me somewhere. They might kidnap me in a room. And
yeah, you never know. Hopefully not. But I guess during that time of doing the show, have you ever thought about changing the personas, or has it kind of been set as they are?
That it's a funny question, because I do that sometimes. I even talk to Judy sometimes before the show. I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna, and I do that. Okay, let's do this quietly.
Yeah.
Characters to hear that. Sometimes when they had a bad night the night before, I threaten them. I'm like, I'm gonna cut Nina from the show, and the day after when I performed, very good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to be like, if I might thinking to fire you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I thought about taking away the character of the hostess many times because I thought it would be, because the show is long, there's so much stuff. But then the character of the hostess keeps everything together, which is nice somehow. Yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna cut any.
No.
Don't tell them, please, Mark.
No, I won't. I won't tell anyone. Nobody's gonna know. But then, obviously, the Fringe. Is there any kind of other when you're there? Have you got time to see other shows, or is it just kind of very much work focused?
No, definitely. We made a list, and me and my producer, we are going to see so much stuff. Like I think this year I want to go see more theater rather than comedy because I feel more like, obviously I love comedy, but I saw there are some good shows I want to see. And yeah, I think I'm gonna see like about 2-3 shows every day.
Yeah.
I want to see all of them there in my venue, and then I have friends coming, with their shows, so I'll be moving around. That is what is good about the Fringe because
Yeah.
you perform, also you kind of see so much stuff, you experience so much work of other people, and you get the sense of what's going on, I think, internationally when you come here. Like you have a picture at the end after a month of what the other artists are researching and what is about right now in the world of Europe, at least, or even some more. But yeah, it's good to have that vision, that sense of what's going on.
Yeah, and I guess like, do you as an artist then feel more part of a community? Whereas like when you're touring around, you're just solo doing the show. Whereas obviously for Edinburgh, there's so much going on.
Yeah, and people are struggling, so it's good because when people are struggling, they're more honest to each other. So it's very good.
Yes, if you keep everyone going, I suppose, which is good.
Yeah.
Then how do you mentally wind down after a performance? Kind of such an intense performance. How do you kind of wind down from it?
Normally, I do have my routine, which is I'm having a gin and tonic just straight after the show. It's always my routine. So I go to the bar, and even when Judy is there, she's so nice. She prepared my gin and tonic. So that's the only request of me as an artist. I'm very good easygoing, but I need to have gin and tonic after I finish the show. So I drink a bit of water, and then I have my gin and tonic. I'm very happy. And then after I finish, I like to meet the audience, but I need those like 5 minutes when I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Just to know what's going on, what happened. And then normally I just have to meet the people. So the people come to me and we talk and they ask questions, which sometimes is a bit difficult to do that because you feel like we all need a bit of time to digest what happened. But then we don't have that time because obviously people will be running from other venues. I will have to change and get ready. The festival probably I won't have those 5 minutes, so I'll have to keep those 5 minutes inside my heart. Like, but I don't have a precise routine. I think, I like to listen what the audience are saying. I shut up. I speak a lot during the show, so I'm just like drinking the gin and tonic and listening what people around me want to say. Yeah.
And as we say, you've done the show for quite a while, but have there been any standout highlights from the journey so far?
Yeah, I think the best moments are the moment of interaction I had in New York with the people playing the Beast, She Lion. There's a moment when I call people on the show and they become beasts as one of my characters, a She Lion, so she's a beast and represent this instinct nature, like nature, animal nature inside each one of us.
Yeah.
So when I get one person coming with me, there's sometimes some real magic happens. Because obviously I tend to pick up the shyest people there is in the audience, and I get very strong reactions. Like they almost don't want to leave, but they have to at some point.
Yeah.
So I have to pull up some of other persona characters to let them go away. But yeah, I think the interaction moments are my favorites. Always, in terms of highlights of memories, and obviously you can't repeat them.
No.
So I think each one. What is amazing about being my guest is that every interaction, everything that I created with the audience, even if we can't repeat it, but it's there. It's part of the show.
Yeah.
Even in the rhythm or in some poses, I keep I try to keep. That's why I need those 5 minutes after the show.
Yeah,
I need the moment when I'm on my own, because I'm like, okay, this is what I'll keep from tonight.
Yeah, move it on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and I suppose, like you say, the Fringe, then I guess, like you say, it might take a couple of performances to kind of get into that routine and get the audience, and kind of obviously then by the end you kind of be full flow, hopefully.
We hope so.
You shall be. But then what would you want an audience member to take away from seeing the show?
I think what I like is if they go home and they take themselves a bit less seriously than they normally do, that would be great. Like, because I do that. Like, I did this show based on opening up and throwing on the table all the things that I didn't love about myself, and I made them funny through comedy. And I found this. I think being a comedian is just maybe this is a very sad thing to say, but it's just a way to survive. Really, for me, that's probably the only way. That's the way I found, because I like to make the people laugh, and I like to laugh about things on myself. Makes everything lighter, which otherwise would be very heavy in my case. And I know many people through have the same thing. It's really hard to be human somehow. Don't know how. Today I have this feeling. It's really hard. And if someone could go home and think about how we laughed about some part of ourselves together, we in a room, how we may, make ourselves ridiculous and play together, and even with people we didn't know, we just had. I think I would like people to go home and think about the game of living, of theater, being like, okay, I went to theater and I had fun and I play with other people. So that's more than enough. That's beautiful. I'm happy about that. Even if they don't remember the story, if the narrative wasn't so clear, if they think I'm crazy, that doesn't matter. It's just like they go home with the idea of the theater is a place to play. That'd be good.
Yeah, well, that kind of brilliantly wraps everything up, really. Just leaves me to say, Be My Guest is on Assembly George Square from the 2nd to the 28th at 2:20, but not on the 14th or the 21st.
No, because I'll be resting there.
Yeah,